writing. Yeah.
All right. Welcome back to New Cammack. In the last action-packed session, Augustyn found the business card of a soothsayer in New Cammack who practices an ancient form of divination with animal entrails. Barry Bilson, a Brujah who had originally been investigating murders attributed to the gangrel River Erickson, discovered a ghouled pig covered in the same fungus as the monster he had encountered while searching the woods for River. Barry reported this fungal pig to our protagonists, who then followed him to the Abbott family abattoir, a pig farm that the moldy monster had apparently been using for sustenance. At the farm, the gang killed the remaining ghouled pigs and discovered Pappy Abbott, the Abbott family's patriarch, who had traces of this familiar fungus on his face and was apparently brainwashed by the monster into killing his wife and son, being told that if he served the monster, he would meet Jesus here on earth. After Darby shot Pappy Abbott in the face, purely out of spite, the fungal fiend suddenly appeared.
His family.
Yeah.
Killed his family.
He seemed to be living in misery. Was that not more of a punishment than, was it a shotgun to the face?
Yeah, I think it was an assault shotgun to the face. I did him a favor. Anyway, I passed my humanity check. I don't need your judgment.
Yeah.
That scene was genuinely scary. Good job.
The fungal fiend suddenly appeared, having apparently emerged from the farm's super gross lagoon of pig shit. From the Abbott family house, Prince Archibald, Augustyn, Darby, Excavo, and Barry see a massive creature about 30 yards away, next to the river, covered in green fungus and pig excrement, turn to them and hiss menacingly. Just as Barry described after his encounter with it, it has a smooth head with no nose or eyes, large, long hands with black claws extending from each finger, and a mouth overflowing with jagged shark-like teeth. But in the floodlight of the farm, more details are visible. As Augustyn suspected, 2 wilted breasts hang from its chest, and a strange, glistening black mass sits atop its back like a backpack. As soon as the creature spots the group, this mass begins growing larger and suddenly unfurls with a spray of pig shit into a pair of huge black rubbery wings covered in dozens of darting green eyes. It turns away from all of you to face the forest on the other side of the river, then jumps 15 feet straight up and begins to fly away. You see Barry suddenly explode in a superhumanly fast sprint toward the creature in an attempt to leap up and grab it by the foot as it's flying away.
Not great. 1 success.
You see Barry explode in a full sprint.
Oh no!
Toward that would be amazing. He's like, oh shit!
That's super bad.
He rushes the monster. He leaps up with all of his might, and he falls directly in the river. And you can hear in the distance him cursing. Everyone else, please roll for initiative.
I have 15.
God damn it. That's the second time in a row.
Darby, what's your total?
9.
I am 14.
That is some weak ass shit. This fucking sucks.
This
is the second time in a row this has happened.
Same. Like, I think I had probably the highest modifier out of all of them, but still got like 3rd.
10. I literally rolled a nat 10 plus my 5 combined between dexterity and wits.
I think I normally would have 1 more dice than you, Blake, but or 1 more modifier than you, but I'm going to burn for celerity, so.
Can you remind me what that means?
Yeah.
Burning for celerity?
As a noob.
Basically, it allows you to split your dice pool without a penalty, I think is the best thing about it. So you can essentially do 2 things with all of your dice.
Yeah, if you
fire 2 shots, swing your sword twice.
If you don't spend a blood point or burn blood for celerity, then this celerity adds to your dice pool anytime it's a dexterity-based roll. If you do spend 1 blood point to activate your celerity, then nothing gets added to your dexterity in those rolls, but you get a number of extra turns up to the number of dots of celerity that you have. So if you have 2 dots of celerity, you can spend 1 blood and take 3 actions in 1 round. Your extra celerity actions go at the end of the initiative order. So if you're trying to run a great distance, if you burn for celerity, you get to run your maximum running distance 3 times. If you don't burn for celerity, you get to run, slightly more than your maximum running distance because of how celerity affects your effective dexterity. Okay, this is the initiative phase. A reminder that now's the time to declare any willpower expenditure, discipline activation, and spending of blood. Working backwards in the initiative order. Darby, what do you intend to do? You see this monster leap way up into the air and start flying away, apparently in the direction away from everyone and into the woods. But Barry at least thought that it could have been possible for him to run and jump up and just grab the thing by the leg.
Darby's intention is to show up Barry. So he is going to try to do what Barry did. Burn celerity, run faster, jump higher, out Barry.
Okay, and you have 1 point of celerity, is that right? Yes.
I only have 1 dot of celerity, correct.
So what you can do is you can burn 1 blood. You can use your first action to run most of the way there, and your second action to make a leap to try to grab the monster's foot. Okay. I can tell you what you would need to roll for that, but the number of you will need to get a certain number of successes in order to actually get high enough to grab the monster.
Okay.
You would need to roll perception plus athletics to know what this number is. Of course, you can just make a blind jump and it won't make any difference with your actual chances of grabbing the monster.
I am definitely not trying to size this up first. I am approaching this with supreme confidence that this is going to work, and so I am not going to make that roll.
Okay. Next up, Archibald. What do you intend to do?
That's a good question.
Does he know my intention?
Because you're lowest in the initiative order, now everybody knows at least what it looks like you're trying to do.
Got it. God, I cannot believe I'm fucking last in initiative.
I think that what I want to do is... Well, Darby's jumping at it also, right?
Yes.
Okay, well, I was going to say I'm going to spin around my sledgehammer a bunch of times and, caber toss it towards him. Towards not Darby, but the monster.
That's fucking dope. I think we worked out weird throw mechanics. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
because I'm not sure if that counts as melee at that point. Because I do have the hammer specialty that I got last time.
Yeah, throwing is governed by the athletics talent. So it wouldn't be melee if you let go of it. It would just be a different dice pool for you.
I'm going to hurl it at him, but I'm not going to let go. I'm going to go with it. And ride it
Thor.
like a cool surfing guy. No, I think honestly, I'm not going to do any of that. I'm probably just going to get myself in position and try to take aim with a firearm with intention to shoot if I can.
Okay. The monster's about 29 yards away, so you can use your first action to get closer and then 1 or 2 celerity actions to attack it with a firearm. You have a light revolver.
I will use that.
Range is 12 yards. So yeah, you can use your first action to run as close to it as you want to.
I feel like I'd run near it, but I wouldn't go literally vertically under it.
Okay, so you intend to do that and then use your extra actions to just shoot twice at it?
I don't think I'll even burn. I think I'll just move and get close and then wait for my next turn to do something.
Okay. Excavo is next.
Bring it, Frenchie.
How close can I get?
If you're running all out, your max running distance is 26 yards. So you can get 3 yards away from it. But running that far and attacking in the same turn would be, I believe, not possible. You can only run half of that distance and attack in the same turn. So you can spend your first turn getting in position.
That's what I'm thinking.
So yeah, what is your intention?
Of what? Because I'm over here by the truck bed, right?
Yeah.
I'd want to move probably to the halfway mark and then try and shoot.
Okay. All right. That's your plan?
That's what I would do. Mm-hmm.
All right. Augustyn, what is your plan?
Okay. So, just to be clear, we're by the house, right?
Next to the truck by the house.
So we're okay.
Yep, right there.
Which thing is the monster? I'm trying to get sense of this.
The
map,
monster
too.
is over on the left.
Okay, that's that. Okay. Berries in the river there.
Yep.
And what would you say the distance is between us and the thingy?
I'm saying everybody is 29 yards away from it.
And it's 15 feet in the air?
It's currently 15 feet in the air.
Okay.
You can, if you spend your entire turn just running as fast as you can cover 29 yards. You can get right to it.
And I still have my nightshade in hand, and really everything else I've had on my person, including but not limited to my splinter servant, yeah?
Yes.
In a controlled fashion, containing my laughter, but still letting some laughter out, Augustyn just desperately, almost nihilistically sprints full board in the direction of the demon. While, you can see I am, with my one good hand, grabbing the enhanced and grown nightshade that I've spent last session developing, kind of lifting it in the air as if about to slam it back into the ground. But prioritizing, I need to get as close to this thing as possible.
Okay, so you're carrying this plant that you grew recently, and you're
imagine
just,
like Mario 2, over his head, just full speed. Yeah.
Pow! So you're spending your turn just getting right underneath it?
Mm-hmm.
Got it. We're now in the attack phase, and Augustyn, you have the highest initiative, so go ahead and move your token to, right on top of or right next to the monster.
So I want to say Darby, first off, shocked that everyone is reacting to this faster than him, and I think his heightened senses had him zooming in on the creature and losing focus with what's going on, just confused by being overwhelmed with information. And that explains, I'm just explaining my really poor initiative roll here, and then watching Augustyn run into battle, multi steps ahead, sprinting right at him is really hurting my pride, I think, a little bit.
Excavo. Were you planning on running halfway and shooting all in the same turn?
Yes.
I forget what you said.
Correct, yes.
Give me a dexterity plus firearms roll, please. I see 1 success. All right. You are going to roll 4 dice to determine damage. I see no successes. Unfortunately, you fire and you see just a little bit of fungus coming off of the monster's shoulder. Just ping, just glanced right off of it.
I fire and they miss.
Archibald, describe again what you're doing. You were running up under it and then.
Mm-hmm. So I'm not running up under it. I'm at a distance. I'm actually trying to be kind of cautious, and I'm standing back because we don't know how strong this thing is, and I'm taking aim at a distance, kind of from behind the cover of the corner of that building.
Okay.
Where my little guy is.
So you're
and I'm
shooting
trying
at
to aim up into the sky and shoot it because I don't see any reason to be right under it where it could ground pound me, which presumably it can.
Go ahead and give me a dexterity plus firearms roll, please.
No successes.
All right. You fire into the air, and you accidentally limp wrist the revolver a little bit, and it just goes wide. And Darby, you are up.
My intention has not changed. I am shamed by being beat into the fray by Augustyn, but charge after him at full speed and leap to try to grab hold of this creature.
Give me a strength plus athletics roll, and you can add your potence dice.
Okay. I am going to be rolling 10 dice with an unknown target. Oh, do I get to add my daredevil dice to this?
Since the results of you failing will just be you falling probably into the river with Barry, I don't believe
not dangerous enough.
That this counts as if you were trying to leap and grab something and you're like 100 feet in the air and you'd take damage if you fell, definitely. But this is just a jump. Now I know what the difficulty of this
zero
was.
Successes. It doesn't matter. I failed miserably, but I am so lucky that I am going to do this again.
Actually, because you did not know what the difficulty of that was, you actually got enough successes to leap up and grab the monster by the foot. Just barely. You got the minimum number of successes necessary to do that.
I was ready to do this again. I was not going to fail at this.
The difficulty was not 6. It was a different number. And you got exactly the number of successes necessary to actually get it. So your celerity action has been spent.
Was the running.
And that was the end of the round. So Augustyn is underneath the monster. Excavo and Archibald are halfway there. Both of them have fired on it. And Darby has jumped up and successfully grabbed it by the foot. Just barely, though. All right, we go back to the initiative phase. Darby, what is your intention now?
That is a great question. I think I am going to burn for celerity again. I'm just like really fueled by a blood rage right now, trying to bring this thing down. And yeah, I think that's my goal. Like I'm trying to be just like an anchor, like an albatross on this thing. I'm trying to hamper its movement, restrict it, and drag it to the ground. I think because of the how is it flying? Like, do I have a sense of this?
Yeah, I'll describe this. First off, I was going to say this to the first person who got close to the monster. You look up and you notice that it is it's totally naked, other than some sort of amulet-looking thing or necklace or something that's wearing around its neck. You just barely spot it with the aid of your heightened senses, glittering a little bit in the moonlight and the light of nearby floodlights. It looks like a glass vial wrapped in metal wires hanging from a thin metal chain. Also, the wings are attached high on its back, kind of like how you see wings on gargoyles. It's not wings like bat wings that are like part of the arms. The thing has 2 arms, 2 legs, and 2 wings that are attached like basically between its shoulder blades.
Okay, interesting. That changes the calculus a little bit. I think...
Oh, also, as you grab it, you notice that it being fungal and covered in slimy mold and like pig shit, it's a little bit slippery. You get the impression that it'll be a little more challenging hanging on to this thing than it would be hanging on to something that's not slippery.
I'm not just trying to hang on. I'm trying to climb up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going like piggyback style, and my goal is to stay on the rear of it and get it between the legs and like a full Nelson of the arms, but not the wings. Like I'm letting the wings kind of do their thing. I'm trying to restrict the arms. That's my first intention. I think my eventual goal is to try to rip off the necklace. But I'm trying to get into position to do that.
Well, Darby, with your high degree of wits and your combat, improvising stuff in combat specialization, I'd say that you immediately get the impression that this is going to be kind of like climbing up a greased fire pole. And it's going to be extraordinarily difficult, like just climbing up normally. Unless if you had something to grab and pull yourself up by that is not this slimy monster. Like if you put something into it, like a handle, and then climbed up from that, that would be the first thing that would come to Darby's mind.
Oh, that's incredible. I think what he does then is he grabs a chakram in each hand from his trusty hat.
He would still need at least
while
one
holding
hand
on
to hold on.
He can't grip with the legs.
He jumped up and grabbed with his hand, so that's where he currently.
Okay, so I think the move is then one hand is grabbed, the other hand grabs my wizard hat, and I try to jam my chakram and make a handhold in the haunch of this thing. Try to stick it in, hurt it for sure, but get it to stick in enough that I can hang on to my chakram and swing up my other hand.
I assumed you'd be using your gladius, but
I don't know how I have that attached. Like, do I have? I'm worried about drawing it. I just thought it would be easier to get a hold of these hat sabers.
You would need
chakra.
You would need to split your dice pool between readying.
Well, I have burn for celerity again.
Yeah, you could split your dice pool, or you could use an extra celerity action. Also, the difficulty of hanging on and the ease of removing you is also going to be increased a little bit if you're only hanging on by one hand. Okay, so you have two actions. Your intention for the first one is to
secure my place on its back. Yeah, I guess my question is, are the chakram sharp all the way around? Like, I'm starting to realize maybe this is a terrible idea.
All the way around on the outside, but not sharp on the inside of them.
Even still, that seems actually challenging, and I'm taking your helpful Game Master Wits suggestion. My inspiration changed in the middle of this battle decision. I am going to try to use the sword that I've been carrying around the whole campaign.
The first one was cooler,
yes,
though.
What would Darby do?
Okay,
you're so right. You know what? Fuck
so
it. He's
fun.
going with the sharp thing. I'm going with my
it.
instincts. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for helping me stay true to my North Star. I'm going with my dumb initial idea, and I'm trying to claw in with my hat circle.
Is this dumb enough for the Daredevil effect to come in?
Still, no. I don't. You can't, because I want to hurt him. I'd rather hurt him than get some damage on him than get the dice advantage. I think we'll see. That's my current decision.
And then use Daredevil.
I'd have to be doing something stupider and riskier. Like right now, I'm just like hanging on and trying to hurt him. I guess it could get riskier.
So with your two actions,
depending on what this guy
first
does.
one is going to be readying your weapon, and your second one is going to be trying to stab in. And
I think that's right.
I'm going to say if you can successfully get that attack, and this would require getting the weapon not only far enough into the monster's body, but also angled just right. I'm going to say that if you succeed with 5 successes, you automatically climb up to be, instead of like face to face with its foot, face to face with its knee.
Oh, okay. What is the the dice pool?
Readying a weapon is if you're using celerity to do that in its own turn without splitting your dice pool, it wouldn't require a dice roll. And then to stab it, that'll just be dexterity plus melee.
Dexterity plus melee. All right. I get 7 of these.
Well, we're just declaring.
All right. It's not my turn. Sorry. 2 phases. 2 phases of combat.
Next up.
That's my plan.
Next up is the creature. And the creature appears to just be trying to gain altitude. It seems surprised by Darby suddenly grabbing it, but it seems to be prioritizing getting high enough that no one else can grab it before it's doing anything to like deal with Darby. Archibald, what do you intend to do?
Augustyn, if Darby brings it down, can you hold it there?
As my former horse once told me, nay.
What do your plans do? I thought you had like vines that would
I just imagine this whole conversation is happening while I'm literally like enhanced nightshade in hand in the middle of trying to slam it into the ground, and I'm just looking indignantly at you.
You're doing combat gardening.
They're only for sex.
What is your plant for? What does it do?
It's a vine. It grows. It does the one thing it was made to do.
The soil here is really good. I don't want to waste the opportunity.
Is it gonna like grab him?
Unfortunately, I definitely don't have the physical agency to demonstrate or physically gesture at things the way I normally would, given that only one hand. Or hold on, there we go.
There you go.
Only one hand. So I'm with the hand I'm clutching the nightshade in, and I'm trying to slap it to the ground, and I'm looking at you kind of silly-eyed. I guess I'm trying to use my one eye to gesture at the sling that I've got, a shard of wood wrapped in a binding scroll that is on my chest.
Well, the immediate
eyeballing at that.
The immediate question is: do you answer Archibald's question?
No. I think if I'm being honest, I do not.
Archibald, you get no useful information from Augustyn.
You know what, Augustyn? When we get back home, we're going to have a serious talk about what it means to be a team player. And then...
Augustyn just, in response, screams unintelligible.
Archibald, what are your intentions knowing that now?
Knowing all of that, I guess I go back to plan B, which is I'm no good at firearms. I scoff at the revolver. I toss it aside to the ground. I grab the hammer and I start spinning.
Okay. Let me check on the range of your thrown hammer. I came up with some homebrewed spin throw mechanics using what...
Did you think of this too?
I did.
You knew I would.
It was kind of annoying
sense.
That
it's something I would do.
It's kind of annoying that given the 20th anniversary edition of Vampire the Masquerade's rules about throwing distance, even incredibly superhumanly strong characters can't throw like a 100-pound thing more than like a yard or two. The formula they have for throwing is it just drops off like really quickly, even if you have really high strength. So I thought, because that's not fun, and we all want to be able to throw motorcycles and cars and stuff, I could add a new thing that doesn't contradict any existing canonical rules, and that is the spin throw. And I got to find it in my notes here, but I think the way it worked is... the number of turns or actions that you spend spinning an object around, that increases how far you can throw it. So give me an estimate of how much you think that sledgehammer weighs.
How heavy is a sledgehammer on average?
Usually 20? About 15 pounds.
15 pounds. Yeah, that makes sense. I don't think it's like a super comically large hammer.
Okay, so... The rules have implemented for every action spent spinning and up to a limit of your strength plus potence number of spins, the object can travel 1 yard further than you can normally throw it. What is your strength plus potence?
My strength plus potence is 5.
You can throw the sledgehammer 18 and a half yards as is if you use your celerity. And you are currently about 15 yards away from it. Oh, now I got to do trig because it's 15 feet up in the air.
It's along the hypotenuse. So.
Oh, God.
If.
Hard pass. He's in
so
range. Come on.
I'm going to say, actually, you can, regardless of celerity, you can use your first action to run halfway to the monster. And at the moment, the monster is in range of you throwing the sledgehammer without having to spend any extra time spinning it around. And if you do hit it, it'll hit the creature and fall straight down. If you miss it, it is going to land in the river. So, do you intend to burn for celerity or keep your celerity to add to your dexterity?
Well, is dex going to be any kind of modifier?
For throwing,
Not to hit?
it is. For throwing, that is going to be dexterity plus athletics.
Then I want to keep my dex. Yeah.
Okay. Excavo, what are your intentions?
See, I'm not a very physical fighter, so I would run probably about halfway to from where I am now to where it is, and then try and shoot again, because I have the flaw of being lazy, so so that would make sense for me. I have the hiccups.
Barry appears to be extracting himself from the river and trying to jump up and grab whatever he can once again. And Augustyn, what's your combat gardening plan?
My good man, does it take a full action to take the enhanced nightshade and smash it into the ground? Like, can I, now that I am underneath my target, can I just smack it into the ground and be, like, doing something else?
Is that functionally any different from just dropping it?
Probably not.
You can drop it,
I mean, do
yes.
you have to, like, plant it?
Dropping it, I don't think would even count as your whole action. You can drop it and do something else.
So I drop it as neatly as physically accomplishable given the circumstances. And then I, with my one good hand, grab the Splinter Servant and put the band that is binding the Splinter Servant, the end of it, in my teeth and kind of pulling it like the pin from a grenade. And as it springs to life, and I have the 5-second window with which to bestow upon it a purpose in this mortal realm, I directly gesture with my non-existent hand up at the thing above me and just say, that.
Maybe attack that, so it's clear.
Kill that, and that.
What if it thinks it's Darby?
Do you want to be extremely explicit in your instruction to your Splinter Servant?
Kill the green thing?
Is there a wooden thing in my room? Doing this with one eye is not awesome. Okay.
I said before, Augustyn didn't have a chance to get an eye patch. You don't have to wear the eye patch.
It doesn't mean I can see through the other eye out of this body.
It's method, Graham.
Okay, all right.
Okay, so, Splinter Servant. Welcome to life, young one! The winged beast must die! And I throw it up at the winged beast.
There we go. So, in the mechanics for a Splinter Servant, it is only said how far it can move horizontally. Amazingly, it says it can jump 30 yards in a turn, which is fucking nuts.
What?
Yeah. It says its range is 30 yards in a turn, and it can cover that in a single leap, which is, for something the size of a steak, that's insane. So I thought that the physics of a Splinter Servant are probably similar to that of grasshoppers, because they can also, to scale, cover crazy distances considering how small they are. So I did some research into grasshoppers and the math of how far they can leap versus how high they can leap, and determined that if the Splinter Servant is anatomically similar to a grasshopper, it can leap 45 feet vertically, or 15 yards, meaning this monster is, in fact, in range.
These things are terrifying.
Oh, yeah. So the Splinter Servant will need to be able to grab onto it, presumably. And we can go ahead and resolve this. We're in the attack phase now. So when you tear it free from its binding, it looks like a normal stake at first, and then it sprouts a hand, another arm, and then 2 legs, like a little person, and just like an angry little scowling face. And it makes some sort of like chittering in acknowledgement sound, like, yep, got it. And you feel it bounce off of your hand with the force of it rocketing straight up to hit this monster. Its pool for doing anything at all is 6. So I'm going to say, please roll 6 dice for me to determine whether or not it successfully grabs onto this monster to begin stabbing into it.
All right, and...
Oh, yeah.
Woo! I see 3 successes. The Splinter Servant jumps straight up and latches on to the monster somewhere close to its chest. Barry attempts to make a leap to jump up and grab the creature once again.
That's a botch.
Totally whiffs it. Jumps
so it
up.
sounds like he's just swimming in the river.
And fails to reach the monster, but he is now attempting, as he's falling, to grab Darby.
Great. Seems like he failed at that, too.
Yes, that is a second botch. So, Barry botches twice in a row, attempting to jump up and grab the monster. He misses it with one hand. As he's falling, he tries to grab Darby's leg with the other hand, misses it too, falls down on the ground, face plants, and you hear just a torrent of curse words coming out of him.
A bad play from Barry the Botch Brujah.
He might earn a new nickname. Excavo. Go ahead and close that distance and give me a dexterity plus firearms roll, please.
Negative.
No.
0 successes.
Not gonna do it.
You run out, you aim, and it just seems like the shot goes out into the night and presumably hits something the next county over. Archibald.
Oh, no.
Go ahead
and...
No.
I am of no use.
Hey, your next one might work. Archibald, go ahead and move your token right next to where Excavo is and give me a dexterity plus athletics roll to hit that thing with your sledgehammer.
Sledgehammer.
I see 1 success.
1 success.
So go ahead and roll your strength plus potence, which I think is 5 for you.
Yeah.
Oh, snap.
I see 4.
I yell, that's way better than guns.
So you run halfway up, and then you chuck your hammer like Thor right at the monster, and it dings him. It bounces off of its gross fungal skin, and you see it sort of twist and spin a little bit in the air.
When it comes back down, I catch the hammer and I look at Augustyn and I say, Augustyn, can we buy a hammer store next time?
See, since you are still, I think something like 7 yards away from it, and Augustyn is directly underneath it, do me a favor and roll just 1 d10 to determine where that sledgehammer actually lands.
Whether it bonks Augustyn on the head.
It lands not on Augustyn.
I slide in and catch it, and then I say that thing I just said.
So you manage to nail it with the sledgehammer as it's trying to fly away, and it does. Yes. It is hit. you don't see anything that obviously looks like damage that the sledgehammer actually did to it, though. Though there is like some gross mold on the head of the sledgehammer that you spot as it falls down, which looks like it could easily be washed off in the river.
I take out a handkerchief and immediately start tending to it.
The creature flies further up and out, placing it 10 feet higher in the air and 7 yards out, still carrying Darby and the Splinter Servant. Darby, it is your turn. Go ahead and give me a dexterity plus melee to try to stab it.
Do I still not know the difficulty, or is this standard difficulty?
This is standard difficulty. 4 successes. Give me a strength plus potence plus 1 roll to determine how much damage that does.
Oh, dip. Quite a bit.
I see 6 successes. Is that right?
7
It
successes.
says 7.
Do I get rollover successes from my chance to hit? Is that 11? Is that 10 total damage successes?
Oh, how many successes did you get?
4 total to hit, and then 7 damage.
Roll 3 more dice.
1 more success.
So you dig this chakram deeply into its leg until it hits bone. It seems to be an extraordinarily painful thing for it. It screams out. Its roar echoes through the night. And you see that, like, a big chunk of its calf is now hanging. It seems like you successfully did quite a bit of damage to it. All right, those are your 2 turns. The Splinter Servant now needs Augustyn to roll 6 dice, and to pierce this monster's heart, the difficulty is going to be 9.
Oh, wow. 2 successes.
So roll 6 dice once again, standard difficulty, to determine how much damage this does.
No successes.
Okay.
Wait, ones detract from damage rolls?
Yes.
I think they always cancel out.
Yep.
Ball sacks. But it does pierce it twice. Am I rolling damage twice?
I think you get 1 carryover maybe from your first roll.
Extra successes in the attack roll do carry over to that damage. So that's why it was 6 that he rolled. Okay, so the Splinter Servant, with a grip for now on the creature, attempts to stab into it and just kind of bounces off its chest a little bit. I forgot, actually, both Darby and the Splinter Servant, at the end of each of their turns, both of you need to make an extra roll to hang on to the creature and not slip. And that roll for Darby first is going to be, you can pick either dexterity plus brawl or dexterity plus athletics. And the difficulty, if you are only hanging on with 1 arm, is going to be 8.
I am ambidextrous, if that helps.
That doesn't make a difference in this case. If Darby wants to maximize his chances, he can, as always, spend a temporary willpower point for an automatic success. Also, it's an option to burn blood to increase your physical stats, such as dexterity.
YOLO. I rolled with brawl. I got 2 successes.
You hang on. The Splinter Servant needs to roll 6 dice. Difficulty is going to be 7 to hang on to the creature and not fall down.
3 successes.
Excellent.
Just
Initiative
to be
order.
clear, the Splinter Servant at this point has been activated. Is it effectively autonomous? Like, it can do the bidding that I gave it singularly as a target, while Augustyn himself on the ground does other things?
Yeah. It's you gave it its instructions, and that is its only purpose in life for the next, I think, 15 rounds. And then it'll just kind of dissolve into a pile of splinters. The initiative phase, the Splinter Servant is trying to stab the creature in the heart again. Darby, what are you trying to do?
I'm just clawing my way up, burning for celerity a 3rd time, and I want to use both actions to try to climb.
The creature is attempting to fly. Once again, he's still not doing anything to address Darby. Archibald, what are your intentions?
How many chakram does he have?
He's holding 1, and he has 4 more on his hat.
Okay, he's got plenty to get up there. Okay.
Yeah, the way that I've envisioned it is I'm just kind of stabbing the same one. Like I'm like, you know, lumberjacking my way up.
Like American Ninja Warrior. Yes.
That's right.
Like that, you know exactly which particular obstacle I'm speaking of.
Indeed.
I mean, the hammer didn't seem to be all that effective, even though I got like a real good clean hit on him. So I'm really trying to think of what we can do. Because he keeps going higher, right? So it's going to be even harder to jump up and get him at this point. But
correct.
I mean, if the hammer didn't work the first time, that's like the hardest hit I could get on him from here. Then I think I've just got to try and at least attempt to jump up there with Darby.
Okay. The creature at this moment is 25 feet off of the ground.
Jesus. It's pretty high. How do
Correct.
I mean, I'll see. Like, is it possible? Or is that impossible at this point?
If you want that question answered, you will have to give me a perception plus athletics roll and get at least 3 successes.
Okay, that's 5
that will tell
dice
you
for me.
That'll tell you how many successes are necessary. Ooh.
He has no idea.
No.
He has no fucking clue.
So you're eyeballing it, and you might be able to make it. You might not.
Augustyn, you sure you don't have any vines? Can we jack in the beanstalk this thing?
Screams incomprehensibly as I am like trying to pile drive my nightshade into the ground.
Excavo, do we have any vines?
No.
No.
What?
I just gonna spend my turn just scratching my head looking up at it.
No.
No, I think I'm seriously just going to kind of like be like, Darby, keep it occupied, and I'm gonna kind of like hustle. I'm not gonna full out sprint. I'm gonna look like I'm hurrying, but kind of hustle over to like the big like tool shed and look for a big ladder.
Darby looks as you were talking to him.
This is the only way I can see him getting the, or perhaps a tarp so we can like catch Darby when he falls.
That's
down.
amazing. As you were talking to Darby, you notice that he is having like the best time of his life. Like he is riding a slick pig. He's just like woohoo! Just
it's totally embodying both our characters because you are on some like Bruce Willis stuff up there, action packed, and I'm out here just like
we need a ladder for this.
I don't know, guys. Could we find some? Yeah, I don't know.
You're selling yourself a little short. You did throw your hammer overhead and hit it.
It was rad. I got mine.
There you go.
So what are you spending your action doing?
Looking for a ladder. And
Got
then
it.
I'm going to climb to the
back
top.
to the barn.
Then I'm going to climb to the ladder and
Eventually.
then throw my hammer at it.
Because you're like 2 turns away from the barn.
I'm
so it's going to be a minute.
Several turns away.
It's
going to look for ways to help.
Sounds like a very Archibald move. Excavo, what about you?
Ha!
Can I take another shot at it?
2 dice.
This is who I am. This is what I have. This creature. It does not have any sort of computer on it. So I am.
Not that you know of.
Yeah, you didn't take any time to look. Very confident.
I mean, am I going to find the computer on it?
You'd feel real dumb if you did.
I can check its aura, but I don't see how that would help. I mean, it just looks pissed off.
You do have an opportunity to do that, yes.
No, I would shoot it again.
Shoot its aura.
Oh. Shoot its aura.
Got it. Stay put. Take another shot.
Yes.
Got it.
Yes.
Barry seems to have the same idea, and he intends to pull his revolver and just shoot at it as it's trying to fly away. And he will hit Darby if he botches. Augustyn, the hell are you doing?
So I assume, I flung my Splinter Servant up into the whole sky above. It has its purpose. I've successfully dropped my Nightshade, and I assume as I'm rolling over to get back up with my one good hand, kind of press the nightshade into the dirt. As soon as I am aware that it is oriented upwards and not like I smashed it upside down into the ground, I'm going to slap it with the Speed of Seasons Passing on the growth end and try and make it grow even taller. I have a roughly Augustyn height nightshade on the ground. I'm trying to make it even taller and lankier. Pending how that roll goes, I need to shout something at Darby, depending on how good or bad this goes down.
I think I said that last time you managed to get it 5 feet high. And I'll say this power is really kind of non-specific about like how much plant growth there is. I think like 1 success, it says like there's like it grows a little bit, and 5 successes could make a seed become almost fully grown. So I'm going to say in this case, you can definitely add a foot to this per success. I don't think Deadly Nightshade is a very vertically oriented plant, but I'm going to say with your incredible skill and specialization in this, you can kind of grab it and direct it to go up as much as it can. And I know vining plants sometimes do this trick where they like vine on themselves to be able to climb up when normally their vines wouldn't be strong enough to do that. So we'll say this looks like it's kind of spiraling in on itself and trying to go straight up.
Cool.
Make a willpower roll, difficulty 5.
Okay. Shoot. Rolling the dice. A few successes.
Looks like
3.
Yeah, 3 successes. Give me an intelligence plus occult roll to get that plant to grow.
Heck yeah.
Oh, 0. 3 successes and 3 ones, so 0.
3 crits and 3 botches.
So you successfully invoke your magical abilities, you touch this plant, and you somehow miss. The magic is activated, but a patch of grass right behind your nightshade springs up, gets a little higher. It looks like a spot was missed by whoever mows this place. Womp womp.
What is it you say to Darby?
Oh god. Originally I meant this to be entirely helpful, but in lieu of a successful roll, I want to be just a jerk.
I'm going to say you don't notice at first that it doesn't work, and you assume that it's going to shoot into the sky and cut the monster in half.
Darby, my good man! Bring him in! Touchdown! And I just gesture at what should be a ravenously sprouting nightshade vine, and just gesture to like, bring him in! Touchdown! Score zone, my good man!
Darby looks down and just sees Augustyn yelling and pointing at a bush, and nothing is happening.
This confirms with Darby's worldview.
If that vine had shot out, Archibald would have been furious. Like, my whole time communicating with you, I was trying to be like, hey, can you grow a big plant for me to ride up there? And then if you had done that while I'm over looking for a ladder to go up there, I would have been so mad.
Oh man, that would have been so good.
Just to turn around with a ladder in hand and be like, ah!
Literally, my vine, in order to grow upwards, is creating a ladder of itself all the way up.
Yeah, I thought we were going to Jack and the Beanstalk it. But...
This is a family show?
I don't know that one. I'm going to have to go on the internet later, which I'm on right now, actually, but still.
Barry emerges from the river, pulls his revolver, and kind of already so disheartened by everything that's happened to him up until this point, aims it at the sky really casually, like he doesn't expect this to work. Aims it at the monster, specifically. And it's just like... Darby, from where you can see, there's a quick pop of gross fungal shrapnel coming off from where Barry's bullet hit. And it looks like the creature has, in fact, taken some damage.
Darby, I think, patronizingly gives him the thumbs up. Oh, nice one. 3rd time's a charm. You keep at it, buddy.
Excavo, give me a firearms plus dexterity roll, please.
Give me 2 dice, mister. 1 success.
Hey, 1 success.
No!
Woo!
Okay.
Please roll 4 dice to determine how much damage your shot does.
Oh, dang.
Ooh.
4 damage.
3 successes.
Just ruin that man's whole career. Shouldn't it be 4 damage then?
8, 6, 8, 7.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, you're right. You take aim with your semi-automatic pistol, and you hit it on its back. And unlike Barry's shot, Darby, from where you can see, you don't see a really obvious wound being made. You hear kind of a piff, and it's not really obvious what effect that shot had on the creature, even though it did, in fact, hit it. Archibald, go ahead and...
Yes.
I see you've repositioned yourself to where you are looking for a ladder. So the entrance
for a ladder.
To that small building is over on the right side of it, or the east side of it. Mm-hmm. And if you are running as fast as you can swing around and get actually into the entrance of that and start looking around.
Oh yeah, I'm going to do that. You know, also, like, it doesn't have to be a ladder. If there is a trampoline, that would be good. A tarp could be cool, and we could all hold it out like firemen do to catch Darby if he falls. Or just a really long stick. I reach up there and I hit it. You know, anything like that.
Open to whatever.
So when you get
Can I just do an perception investigation roll, see what I find?
Yeah, I'll just tell you what you see. You burst in through a wide set of double doors, and you see that this room is used for the, I think they're called brood sows. You see there are 3 pens, and in 2 of them, there are just really big pigs that are nursing a bunch of piglets on their sides. You look around, and you don't see anything like a ladder, anything like a trampoline, of course. If there are such things on this farm, they must be stored somewhere else.
Stack the pigs.
Do what? What now?
Stack the pigs.
I was thinking it. You know we were all thinking it.
Right.
I don't think they're going to be tall enough altogether even.
Not
still.
with that attitude.
Not with that attitude.
Not with any attitude.
Okay, I stack the pigs. No, I don't stack the pigs. What can I do to help? I don't know. I don't really see any other kind of facilities that I could look at, because that big building is just all the pigs, right?
Does it eat pigs? Does it eat the pigs?
Definitely infects the pigs.
Could they be bait to bring it back down?
Yeah, I get that's a good idea. I grab a pig and bring it outside.
I mean, not to be argumentative, but it doesn't seem like this is just an instinct-driven critter. I would assume that it's got, like, some modicum of mental agency. I think it sees us as threats and, like, it's not going to go, fuck these guys, fuck these guys, fuck these guys. Oh boy, a pig? Who could resist? And just, like, swoop down.
Archibald...
You're just saying that because it's covered in plants. You see the emotion.
Archibald, you can reach the closest pig to you, but actually trying to hoist it out of there and get out of that building with it, that'll have to happen on your next turn, unless if you were burning for celerity.
I mean, obviously, I'm just going to have to burn for celerity. It's worth it.
Okay.
Can I, so that I don't have to drag them back and around, can I burn celerity to punch a hole through the other side of the barn? Can just emerge with pigs?
On your next turn...
Very helpful.
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. I am preparing for that, and on my next turn, I will burst through the other side of the barn with some stacked pigs to save the day.
Now, what is your strength plus potence?
Oh, like so much, dude. It's like 5, I think. Or 6, maybe.
Okay, you are strong enough to be able to pick up the pig, who is going to protest a bit and going to make that a little difficult for you. I think this counts as a combat hold. So give me a strength plus brawl roll, difficulty 3.
Combat hold.
Oh, plus potence. So can I roll again with that?
Actually, you already got 2 successes. So you
cool.
Now have someone could look up how big and how heavy a full-grown breeding pig is. I know it's bigger than you, and it outweighs.
Could just ask your mom.
Whoa!
Does your mom have a scale? Tell her to stand on it.
But Archibald, it's a comic sight with you hoisting something over your shoulder that's just tremendously huge and squealing and kicking ineffectively at you. This brings us to the creature. The creature flies another 10 feet higher and another 7 yards into the river, and also seems to be concentrating on something really hard. And Darby, as you're trying to stab into its leg, you see that the first wound that you made, the really terrible one right into its calf, as you draw your chakram back out of it, you see that wound close up again and knit itself shut.
Okay.
And Darby, it is your turn. Give me a dexterity plus melee roll.
3 successes?
Yep, 3 successes. So roll strength plus potence plus 3 to determine your damage. What's your damage?
Oh, wow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 successes, 3 10s.
All right, you, with your first action, drive that chakram right into its leg once again, and a big chunk of the creature gets peeled off, and the chakram kind of goes right through the leg. But with your heightened senses and your combat perceptive abilities, you see that this is a big chunk of like fungus that has come off, and underneath it appears to be the creature's unbroken skin. And after the Splinter Servant goes, you will have your second action from your celerity. For the Splinter Servant, Augustyn, please roll 6 dice for me. Difficulty of 9, because it is trying to hit the heart.
Oh, man.
3.
3 successes. Now please roll 7 dice to determine how much damage it does.
Should be rolling.
I count 2.
2 successes.
8 and 7.
The Splinter Servant, with a grip on this creature's chest, grabbing onto the weird fungal growths all over it, starts plunging its pointy end. And in your imagination, you can determine whether the pointy end is on top, like a hat, or on bottom.
I imagine it's like gripping with its hands and just shoving its lower torso into it, so its face is still visible, and, you know, as it makes purchase on its target, it can make, like, O faces at nobody in particular.
The Splinter Servant viciously thrusts its lower half into the monster and penetrates it deeply. However, it does not appear to be deeply enough to cause it to be staked.
But does it still receive the damage?
Very similar to Darby's last attack, it plunges itself into its chest, and when it doesn't detect that it's in a heart, it gets ready to pull back out for the next attack, And when it does so, the chunk that it stabbed into stays on it. And you see that it only penetrated a layer of fungus on it. And it doesn't appear to have actually gotten through the thing's skin, much less into its heart. Darby, give me your second attack roll. Dexterity plus melee, please. 2 successes. Give me strength plus 3 to determine how much damage that does.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 minus 1. 5 damage.
Once again, you see the same thing happen a second time. You stab into it deeply. You definitely get purchase with this chakram, but just another chunk of slimy, gross mold separates from it and falls away, and it doesn't look like you actually did any damage to it, despite
But have I climbed higher? That my main goal is to just keep ascending the beast.
With 5 successes on your attack roll, you'll be able to not only do damage, but get it in and get it angled down and secure so that you can use it as a handhold. And then with your other arm, grab a section higher on its leg. And that has not yet happened. Now this is the end of the round. Darby, I'm going to need a holding on roll from you. So this is either dexterity plus brawl or dexterity plus athletics. I think this counts as grappling, so you can use your specialization. You're holding on with one arm, so the difficulty is going to be 8.
So can I use strength instead of dex if I'm going to use my grappling specialty? That's a strength specialty, not a dex specialty.
I'll use a strength plus brawl and add your potence dice too.
Okay. 5 successes.
I see successes. And Augustyn, I'm going to need you to roll 6 dice to determine if the Splinter Servant can continue to hang on to this thing.
2 successes? 3?
Yep, I see successes. All right, everybody remains on this thing. New round. The Splinter Servant is going to keep doing its thing, going to keep trying to stab the monster and pierce its heart. Darby, what are your intentions? Same thing?
Yeah, I'm trying to climb my way up.
And you're burning for celerity?
I actually feel like, man, I don't know. Like, rolling a 5 out of 7 is really hard on the initial attack roll. Now that I know what the condition is, I feel like getting my celerity bonus might be the only way I can beat that dice threshold.
Okay.
Wait a minute. How do I can burn blood to... Oh, that just gives me an extra dice.
You can burn blood to increase your dexterity for the rest of this scene.
Okay, yeah, I'll do that instead. Rather than... Actually, I'll do both. Let's do that. Let's do both. Kind of the best of both worlds. So I'm going to burn 1 blood to increase my dexterity by 1 point. And I'm going to burn for celerity again. And I'm going to try to climb my way up 2 times.
Got it. All right. The creature is now definitely noticing that it's being stabbed in the leg.
Yeah.
It is going to try to shake you off.
Okay.
While still flying higher and further away from the farm. Archibald, you are attempting to Kool-Aid Man your way through that wall and run out with the pig.
It's not so much running out. It's kind of like... bam, and then like standing there looking real cool.
Got it.
Because I'm here to save the day. I brought this tool so that I could, in our most dire moment, save the day.
The pig of salvation. Are you burning for celerity?
I think I'm just doing the one thing and
okay, all right.
Like punching a big hole, right? So, no.
Excavo, are you taking another shot?
Would I have seen Archibald go in there?
Yeah, he was right next to you, and
at this point.
he ran back.
Oh, okay. In that case, I would flip. I would take a shot first to just attempt that again, get that out of the way, because I can't really see what all is going on from where I am. But then I would run I would go over to the barn to see what was going on, because I may have had that same thought of, what if, like, these pigs, like, are they food? Are they something that it wants? Why is, like, just trying to think of why it's here. So that's what I would do.
Okay. I believe that this is the last round in which the creature will be in the normal range of your gun. As it gets further away, you can still shoot at it, and you might hit it, but there will be penalties to that shot. So you are...
That's why I would get that out of the way.
Yeah,
and
so
then
you're
run
going to
back, because I'm like, it's moving further away. Yeah.
You're going to shoot and then run back to the building.
To the... Yeah.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
Barry is also attempting to shoot it once again. And Augustyn, what are you doing?
So the goo demon is above the water at this point, yeah?
It is, yes. The river is... I looked up stats about
passing requires me to touch the plants I'm trying to affect.
Correct.
If there are plants in the water, would I be able to just, like, thrust my hands into the water and affect the plants in contact with that, like electricity would?
You would be able to affect all the plants that you are personally touching.
Okay, but water is not like a conductive element that allows me to touch all of the plants in the water.
Nope. There's a whole other path of thaumaturgy that lets you do cool water stuff, but you do not know that one yet. The stream, by the way, is 12 yards wide, and on the other side of it is a forest, which is full of plants.
Good gravy. Okay, so physically, how far from me is the goo demon?
14 yards away from you horizontally, and 35 feet up.
So about 50 feet in linear distance from point to point.
Oh, in
Maybe
that case, the creature is actually past the river and is going over the forest at this point. Or through it.
Last procedural question. What is a normal effective range for a handgun?
Anywhere from 12 to 25 yards, depending on what kind of a handgun it is.
Okay. I'm going to brandish the one available handgun I have. I'm going to grab it real good-like, and with my one good hand and one good eye, I train my eye upon my prey, and make with the gravitational pulling of the trigger doohickey. And yeah, I try and take a shot.
You would need to split your dice pool for drawing and readying the weapon and firing it. Because you have one eye, anything that requires depth perception is at an increased difficulty. But I think because this is probably effectively point blank, you're not having to account for how much the bullet drops as it travels. I don't think that it actually matters that you only have one eye. Because oftentimes when you aim through the sights of a gun, you are only using your dominant eye. So I'm going to say that there is no penalty there. However, you are using your offhand, and that would get you a penalty.
On top of my -2 to rolls.
Yes, you lose 2 dice on all of your rolls. Yeah, difficulty is just going to be 7 because you're using your offhand. So you're shooting it. That's your move?
Yeah, that's my move.
Okay. Give me a dexterity roll, difficulty 8.
8. Dexterity is what, 3?
3,
4?
So with your penalty, you're going to be rolling 1 die, difficulty 8. It is still possible to make this. Oh!
Yeah! Woo! I do not fumble it out of my holster. Oh, schnit.
That is amazing.
Now, 1d10.
Please roll 4 dice to determine your damage.
No successes.
So
amazing.
It's not so good for like 1 minute.
The dice giveth and the dice taketh away.
So Darby hears, whizzing right past his ear, a bullet just grazing along the side of the monster's leg. And
Darby, catch!
and a little bit of mushroom-like plates scattering off of it. Barry then makes his attack. Exact same thing happens. On the other side of Darby's other ear, here's the other one of the creature's legs just barely get grazed by a bullet, and a big chunk of stuff comes off, but none of that appears to be the creature's skin. It appears to be just this gross sort of fungal armor that it has on it. That brings us to Excavo. Please give me a dexterity plus firearms roll.
No.
So 0 successes?
If you add them together. No.
Okay. At this distance,
So I point break, and then I run.
You fire your gun. It seemed unlikely to begin with, but you see no evidence that it actually hit the creature. Archibald, give me, I'm going to say, to bust through that wall with the pig, give me I'll say strength plus athletics roll, because this is a wall, I'll say a normal difficulty of 6.
Okay. Do I add potence?
Yes. And you could burn blood to turn those potent dice into automatic successes if you ever want to.
That might be nice. That would have been nice a second ago. Yeah, it's pretty bad.
So, would you like to describe what happens when you botch running through a wall?
Well, I was imagining, I'm less Kool-Aid man. I was imagining, since I've got my one arm full, I was kicking it. So I think the worst way to botch this is that my foot goes through and now I'm stuck while holding this thing. And my foot is now sticking outside of the building, and I am stuck there trying to balance this giant hog.
Excavo, from where you are, you see Archibald's foot explode out of the wall, and not the rest of him.
Oh no.
I go over there.
You guys are doing a hell of a job.
The creature, then, now that it is a safe distance, it believes away from all the other attackers, and it just has this Splinter Servant on its chest and Darby stabbing onto its leg. It attempts to shake Darby off. Borrowing from the mechanics for disarming a weapon, I'm going to say here the creature's successes must exceed its opponent's strength plus potence roll, the number of successes its opponent gets, in order for this creature to break the grip. There's no roll, just the opponent's strength plus potence. Darby's strength plus potence is
7.
7? So this creature will need to get at least 8 successes in order to kick its leg hard enough for Darby to lose his grip. And this is slightly easier for this creature because Darby's only hanging on by one arm. And my pre-rolls say that with Darby hanging on with one arm, the creature gets 7 successes. One fewer than it needed to remove Darby.
And again, Darby's just overjoyed by this. He's like, woo, yeah!
It's resembling
just like, oh no, now you're showing some spirit.
It's resembling a rodeo more and more. So with Darby hanging on with one really strong arm, the creature is flying and just kicking, and Darby is hanging on to his foot like a stubborn booger. And Darby, it is now your turn to give me a dexterity plus melee roll. And did you say you were going to not burn for celerity?
I burn for celerity and burn to increase my dexterity for the scene. So I'm down 2 blood this scene. This round, and I can burn 3 per round, right?
Correct. So it's going to be a dexterity plus melee plus 1 roll for you.
Right. It essentially lets me have my cake and eat it too with celerity. Still didn't get it.
How many successes is that? 1, 2, 3, 4. So, once again, your damage roll is going to be strength plus potence plus 4 in this case.
I think that's 1.
I see 2. No. I see
2.
10 and 2 8s and 1 1. So as you extract your chakram and stab it into the creature once again, it feels different. It feels like you definitely got purchase. You definitely sliced through the creature's flesh significantly. And give me another dexterity plus melee plus 1 roll.
Still didn't get it. 1, 2, 3 successes?
Yep. So your damage pool is going to be strength plus potence plus 3.
Three?
I see. Yes, 3 is correct. And unfortunately, you plunge us in and it appears to glance off of the creature without doing any additional damage. We go now to the Splinter Servant. Augustyn, please give me
6d10.
6d10. At
2 successes?
0.
The Splinter Servant once again rears back and attempts to pierce this creature, specifically in the heart. If it was aiming to just stab it wherever, it would have succeeded more easily. But since it's really specifically aiming for the heart, it tries.
I know it's too late for like this to be a big change, but in aiming it at a thing, it only goes for the heart. Like it's not looking for like eye sockets or anything like that.
It's literally the only thing that it's allowed to do to get closer to the person it's commanded to attack and then stab it in the heart. And if it can't reach that target, then it does the same thing with just the nearest humanoid thing to it.
Okay, so it has to keep stabbing at what it presumes is the heart.
Correct.
Poop. Because if it could skull fuck this guy, that'd be so handy right now.
That's one word you could use to describe that.
Heck, if it could skull heck this particular guy, just heck it right in the eye hole.
Gross. I'm now going to need a strength plus potence plus brawl roll from Darby. Difficulty, it's +2 if you have one arm, so difficulty is 8.
6 successes? Seems like a lot.
Yeah. You hang on very solidly.
Darby just looks like rodeo clown Darby.
And Augustyn, roll 6 dice, please, to determine if the Splinter Servant hangs on to this slippery creature. I see
I have nothing
2
more to
successes.
say. I shout your name.
All right, new round. The Splinter Servant is doing its thing. Darby, are you continuing the same, trying to climb up?
He is a man of singular purpose.
All right. The creature, knowing that it was not able to easily shake Darby off of its leg, is continuing to fly higher and further into the forest, but is now starting to try to fly in a tight circle in an attempt to use centripetal force to fling Darby off, but is not otherwise reaching for or trying to grab anything. Archibald, what are you attempting to do with your legs stuck in that wall now?
I'm going to assume that I am trying to pull it back in. I'm going to pull it back in and then probably, instead of using my foot, try to just use the hammer. I'm going to set down the pig, try a hammer this time to get a bigger hole in it.
I believe you never retrieved the hammer because it was right next to the river, and
I thought I did like a baseball slide and caught it. I thought, and then I said a cool thing.
You said
to
that you did that, but you were too far away from where your hammer was landing because of movement, so you couldn't have caught it from underneath the guy.
You got the closest you got was about 21 feet away from the hammer.
Welp. Then I don't do that. I just take it out and then bash it with my hands. I do like this to it.
The wall?
Oh, the old Star Trek axe handle, double-handed. Yeah.
This is to like bust a big hole in the wall?
Yeah.
Okay. Excavo.
Hope you don't double botch.
And get my hands stuck in there. Just again. Actually, I want to try it without taking my foot out, because I think it'd be funnier. There are the possibility of just 3 limbs stuck through.
It's a real Herman Munster.
Didn't he go in with a door?
Yeah, it's on the wrong side. He doesn't have time to wait for that.
So now I don't have to waste my movements walking around.
No,
I don't have to walk around the building with all my movements. And this is faster spending a whole turn being stuck in the wall.
Well,
I see this. I see you in there. So you're stuck in the wall. Mm-hmm. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Excavo, you can use your entire turn.
I wouldn't be useful like pulling him out, right?
Excavo, you can use your entire turn getting around the building and just inside the door.
See, so I would have had to spend a whole turn walking around anyway.
Oh, the door's over here.
Mm-hmm. It's all the way on the other side.
The far side. The right side. Or east.
And he's poking out over there, right? So I would have seen that and been like, there was a fucking door.
Yeah.
Right here, brother. What's going on?
Yeah, so I'm more like over here.
Yeah.
Okay,
so Excavo, you are running around the building and ending up right there. Okay. Yeah. So Barry is attempting to take another shot at the creature. And Augustyn, what are you intending to do?
I think I know what I'm going to be doing, but just to be clear, do I have any of the magical items from the curio shop on me?
I believe you said that you pocketed the wand of repairing, but everything else is either at home, or I think it's fair to say that if you thought that some of them were going to be useful, they're in the car, which is unfortunately too far away.
On me is just the wand of repairing.
Yes, you didn't mention carrying the wooden hand or the canteen or the supposed invisibility potions.
Okay. All of this is set in stone. I'm doing it regardless of success or failure. I definitely, wherever my gun is, just kind of let it loose and grab the wand. And with a cry that can only be described as Augustinian, whip it out of whatever facility it's being housed within, aiming it at the goo monster, and just... And hope that it does something.
Okay. You would then drop your pistol, just like Archibald did in the grass. Okay, so we're now in the attack phase. It is your turn. You drop your gun on the ground. You draw the wand out of your pocket. You aim it. And no matter how hard you yell, you don't sense that anything magical is happening. You're attempting to invoke it and point in the general area of the creature. And
the goo monster, yes.
The goo monster. It could be a Goomba, I suppose. Goombas were mushroom monsters, so...
Like, clearly something is emotionally broken inside of it, so theoretically, it could substitute damage from somewhere else and fix the goo monster.
I like the way you think. I also searched my mind for anything on Darby that might have been broken and couldn't think of anything, so it appears to have no effect.
Cool. Can I roll for how loud and spooky I shout?
Yes.
I assume 6 dice at difficulty X.
You know, I'm going to say yelling really loud is actually strength plus performance. So that'll be 2 dice for you, but you are at a dice pool penalty of 2. So roll 0 dice to determine if you can yell really loudly.
Like a terrible nightmare, it just comes out as like a wheezing wind out of my... And that's like...
Comes out like a cool. Muttley laugh. Yeah, so a turn well spent. Barry, once again, now emboldened by his previous shot actually hitting, aims with both hands and with more determination, and does in fact hit the creature, but once again, it seems like the shot glances off of all of the gross gunk on top of it and does not actually do any damage to it. This brings us to Excavo. Go ahead and reposition your token at the entrance on the east side of that building, like just inside of it. Yep, there you go. Archibald, so you're trying to bust your way through the wall. I think that's going to be another strength plus potence plus athletics roll.
Yeah, so I'm setting down the pig, and I'm trying to club it now with my hands.
I'm assuming you set that first pig down in there on top of the second pig.
Yes, of course. Pig stacking, obviously.
It's a Brujah pastime.
Everyone knows that. Barry knows all about it. Please, please, please. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I see 4 successes. Time. So you bust the fuck out of the wall. You did say you set the pig down. So let's say you successfully make a hole in the wall big enough for you and the pig. And the layer of studs and insulation in the wall, the thin layer of drywall on your side, it gives way to your immense strength. And there's a large enough hole for you and your darling pig to escape through. The creature now attempts to fly in tight enough circles to be able to fling Darby off with, I think it's centripetal force. It might be centrifugal force. I never remembered. Like, both refer to the same thing, but one of them nerds will get mad at you.
Yeah, one of them's like on the inside edge of the arc, and one of them's on the outside edge of the arc. Yeah.
Okay. The difficulty is lowered for this because Darby is only hanging on by one arm. Once again, the creature would need to get 8 successes or more to fly and fling Darby off, to overcome Darby's strength. Try as it might, this creature gets 6 successes, making Darby perhaps a little dizzy, inconsequentially, but Darby is still attached to this creature. And now gets 2 actions. Did you burn for celerity for this one?
I did.
Okay, for your first action, give me, as always, a dexterity plus melee roll.
Oh my god, I did it.
I see 5 successes.
5 successes.
Regardless of how the damage roll turns out, you get your chakram in solidly until it hits something solid in there and doesn't look like it's going to bend if you pull up on it. And you also get it at a downward angle, so you can, in fact, use it as a handhold. You immediately climb up the creature and wrap your other arm around its knee, kind of just above its knee, and you are now higher on the creature.
Nice.
So that is going to be, your damage roll is going to be strength plus 5. It's a lot of dice.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 successes.
The chakram digs in to something because it's all lumpy. It's covered in weird stuff. It's not immediately obvious whether or not this really solid stab actually does any damage or not. The creature is flapping around in a panic and yelling regardless, so it's unclear how much damage you just did. Augustyn, please roll 6 for the Splinter Servant's next attack.
All right.
Difficulty, once again, is 9.
Didn't get it.
No successes. Try as it might, keeps trying to stab at his heart and keeps missing it.
That is some fast-growing fungus. If we do kill this man, maybe I turn him into fertilizer.
Darby, your celerity action. Give us another dexterity plus melee roll.
Come on, 5. Let's go. Only 4.
So that's 3
With
more.
3 10s. Oh, man.
3 10s is pretty extraordinary. That's 3 more dice that'll be added to your damage roll. So strength plus potence plus 4 to figure out how much you hurt this thing.
That's a lot. 7.
7 damage. Jesus Christ. You get confirmation that a little bit of flesh splits, and you once again have like a flap of what's definitely muscle tissue hanging down.
Dope.
And the creature roars in pain. Now, I'm going to need a hanging on roll from Darby. That is, once again, strength plus potence plus brawl, difficulty 8.
3 successes.
All right, you hang on. And Augustyn, going to need the same thing for the Splinter Servant. 6 dice, standard difficulty.
So many successes.
Bunch of successes.
Oh my god. Yeah, looks like he holds.
4 successes, either way.
You made it. All right, new round. This creature is going further and further into the woods and higher, and still has the Splinter Servant trying to stab at it, and still has Darby hanging off of it. Darby, you changing your strategy or doing the same thing?
I at this point, this is the best I got, so I'm just doing the same thing.
The creature, now knowing that trying to shake Darby off of his leg isn't working, and trying to fly around in a circle really fast also did not work, is now, because he is fully in the forest, he is trying to fly in such a way that he bashes Darby against a tree and dislodges him that way. So, Darby, you see that this creature is really deliberately flying toward a tree, and looks like it's going to try and turn at the last minute so that it bashes against you. And if those successes exceed your strength plus potence, you would be dislodged. Archibald, you have made a hole. I'm guessing you're going to grab the pig and present it to the world.
You guys are really helping quite a bit.
I mean, I was going to grab both. Hey, man, it's 2 pigs.
Don't be ridiculous, Graham. He's not just going to grab a pig.
And then I bust out the hole and I say, okay, everybody, let's get hog wild.
God damn it.
I love it. I love it.
And then I immediately noticed that, like, all the monster of Darby are, like, nowhere to be seen anymore. And I'm like, oh, dang.
Let's get hog what?
That joke was
man.
that joke was poor sign.
I got it.
I'm going to say that you are strong enough to lift 2 pigs, but given their size, it's mechanically impossible to have 2 of them up at the same time. However, you can grab the 2 pigs and drag them, or have one up and the other is dragging behind you.
I do that one. That looks cool. But then I'm also, I mean, my whole plan was I was going to, like, use these to cushion his fall, but now he's, like, over the woods, so this is useless now.
He's both over the river and through the woods, but his destination remains a mystery. Maybe it's Grandma's house.
Is there, like, a boat or something? Like, I mean, I'm kind of at a loss, too.
Yeah, it's full of boats. No, there's not a boat.
They're so far away. I don't know what to do.
Okay, here's my plan. I'm going to climb up on top of the barn. I'm going to do a sweet swan dive onto the pig and bounce off into the sky and to catch them. Is that mechanically sound?
Well, your first turn is going to be positioning the pigs to act as trampolines.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, this is like a long game. I'm playing the long game.
And they will try to run away if they're not rendered immobile. They might not. I will have them roll for that. So, yep, that is your turn. Putting the pigs.
You're going with hot air baboon technology? Like, that's where...
Wait. Steve, you're a genius. Is there any hot air?
If you burn blood to increase your own internal temperature, you can, in fact, exhale
Do
hot
not
air.
encourage this.
I will create a hot air balloon.
I blame myself.
Hot air bourboon. Because it's a pig, you see.
Either way,
We're all getting
I will
so happy.
I will
10:30.
try to think of some relevant thing to do when the battle is taking place far away at this point, and there's nothing we can do to reach it.
You can get in the car and go home.
And for now, I will wait for turn. I could go in the car and chase them with the pigs, I guess.
I just imagine, like, the fight's over, nobody dies, but we all recollect at the farm to find that you gravity juiced a pig.
Yeah.
Just jumped up and just pig
Okay.
everywhere.
And it would snort. It would.
Excavo, what are your intentions?
I don't know.
You can do nothing.
I don't.
Excavo.
Can I get in the truck and drive over there? Would I know how to get over there?
Yep, you
You
know
can
where the
still
nearest
collect.
bridge is over the river. Yeah.
Like, they go across the river. I know how to get there from land.
Yeah,
Kimber,
you
I'm
can-
private messaging you an idea that seems in character to me. That seems like in character for your character. That's unrelated to the battle since we are useless here.
Is it baboon related? Because otherwise,
No,
not
no.
interested.
It's not in my character.
Okay, Barry is attempting to shoot at the creature once again. And Augustyn, what are you attempting to do?
He is off in the woods. I collect my gun and my bear cub, and I start sprinting towards the car, specifically aiming to get in the back seat, because that's what I'm conditioned to be used to.
It would feel improper to get in the driver's seat.
Right.
Okay, I'm going to say with 2 turns of running, you can reach the car. All right, so you get halfway there with your turn. And we're now in the attack phase. Barry, once again, shoots at the creature. And Darby, you see that this bullet does, once again, glance right off of the monster. Just barely.
God damn it, Barry. You are useless.
It was a hit, but not a hit that appeared to do anything immediately useful to the situation. Excavo, you stand there and contemplate your life choices.
I don't, like, I feel like she would get in the truck.
In
She
the
needs to get over there.
in the Abbott's truck or in the
This one. Can I get in there? Are the keys?
I'm going to say you
Are
can
there
you can
keys?
sprint to it and you can start looking for keys. Go ahead and give me a perception
Yeah.
plus investigation roll, please. I see 2 successes. You search around
There we
and
go.
you try the most
enough.
obvious thing. You pull the visor down on it. Nothing. The visor in the passenger seat, nothing. Center console, set of keys. You have the keys to the truck. Archibald, you drop a couple pigs. I'm going to say you successfully hoist, because you could do the first one. I'm going to say you just have an inherent natural pig hoisting ability now that you can do without rolls. You place those pigs. You know, I can actually.
I was hoping to hitch a ride once Excavo drives the truck around. If I'm seeing that she's
Well, I just
getting
found
that
the
situation
keys.
On the
going.
pigs? Or?
Put the pigs in the truck
I'm gonna
bed?
put them in the truck bed. Thank you,
Yeah.
Kimber. We're on the same wavelength right now. We're
We
gonna
get it.
put the pigs in the trunk, and we're gonna go save Darby.
We're gonna go over there.
Okay, you have a hold of 2 pigs.
Bye, Augustyn.
And you are ready to toss him in a truck bed when the opportunity arises.
If Darby falls from like 50 feet, then he's going to be glad at that point when we are there to cushion his fall with some big hogs.
Oh my god.
Nobody is thinking about Darby except us. We're
I keep
the
thinking
support.
about that
We're a
stupid
family.
motorcycle movie.
You're really helping Darby a lot.
That's why I like to, and this is in character right now. That's why I like to call us the Olive Garden, because when you're here, we're family.
Okay.
Darby can't hear that, thank God.
The creature flies directly at
I yelled it as loud as I could.
the creature attempts to dislodge Darby by flying directly at a tree and then turning at the last moment, bashing him against a tree. He successfully bashes Darby against a tree, doing 3 levels of bashing damage that Darby can now roll to soak. But the question is, did the creature get enough successes to overcome Darby's strength? It would need 8 to remove Darby. And once again, it rolls 6.
So I soak 1.
All right.
1 bashing.
Darby receives 2 bashing. That's automatically halved to 1. So Darby gets 1 level of bashing damage. Slamming against the tree, you are a little bruised, but not your pride, because no matter how hard it slams you against the tree, you stay on. So Darby's having a great time, I would imagine.
Yeah, thrilled. And though, like, completely confused, like, expecting rescue from his partners, who I'm sure are close behind with their firearms and their vast armament that we've secured. He is expecting to get help at some point, not knowing what that gang is up to.
Everyone else is about 60 feet behind you.
Yep. So I'm hoisting my way up again.
Okay. The creature is now 45 feet up, and like 60 feet from where it started, the bank of the river. Oh, this is your.
Yes. It's my first attack roll.
What was that?
5 successes.
Once again, 5 successes. You pull out the chakram and you stab it once again higher up on its thigh, and you get solid enough purchase in its body to be able to immediately hoist yourself up to hip level. You're now face to face with its hip/ass region.
Great.
Which you just stabbed into. So that is going to be strength plus potence plus 5.
Here's some ass damage. Oh, damn.
That is a lot.
I really wish I was getting something for these 10s, but I'm not. 5, 6, 7, yeah.
7 damage. That
not casual.
Yeah, you just bury this thing into its flesh, like all the way until your hand is partially in the wound. There's no question that you just did catastrophic damage to it. And it's acting like it. It's freaking out. It's flippant. It's flailing its hands around. It now desperately needs to get you off of it, because at this rate, you are going to kill it or put it into torpor. It is now the Splinter Servant's turn. Augustyn, give me another
60-10.
6 dice.
Whew, don't fail me now, wood boy. Let's go roll the dice.
Oh, yeah. There it is.
2 hits.
2 successes. Roll 6 dice to determine how much damage it does. 3, 4, 5 successes. Other people wouldn't see this, but Darby would see. The Splinter Servant gets a good grip on it, gets positioned, and plunges itself to the point where half of it disappears into the monster's chest. It definitely does some damage. However, the creature is still moving. It does not appear to be staked quite yet.
All right.
And Darby, I'm going to need another hanging on roll, I believe.
I get my second attack?
Oh, yeah. And your second celerity attack.
Come on, Fiverino, 4. Only 4 successes on the second chance to hit.
So for damage, we're going to need strength plus potence plus 4.
2.
I see 2. And once again, you plunge your chakram into the creature, and your hand feels a little loose, like you're just kind of pushing it into mush. And you don't get the impression that this attack did any damage.
Got it.
So
right.
that hanging on roll, I believe that's strength plus potence plus brawl, difficulty 8.
2 successes. One success.
1 success is all you need. And Augustyn, please roll for your Splinter Servant. 6 dice, normal difficulty.
Looks like 3 successes.
Yep, Splinter Servant hangs on. All right, new round. Splinter Servant's still trying to stab. Is Darby doing the same thing?
Darby Servant still trying to murder.
The creature is attempting to reach down and grab Darby. Well, basically, like, smack Darby off of him.
Okay.
By kind of like, just sort of smack. You're hanging on to the top of his leg. It can reach you at this point. Just trying to smack you off.
Makes sense.
Archibald, you are holding your action until that truck comes around. Is that right?
Yeah.
And then when it comes around, you are going to throw the 2 pigs into the bed of it?
Yeah, and I'm going to hop in there as well.
Okay. And Excavo, you are going to drive the truck to Archibald and then away? Barry lowers his gun and seems to come to the conclusion that the creature is out of range. So he is holstering his gun and just kind of casually walking away from the river. Augustyn, what is it that you were doing?
I am in the last half of my sprint to the truck. I have my bear cub and my gun in hand. I think the bear cub's on the side with the nub.
Oh, yeah.
And the gun's in the actual hand. And whatever is the most, like, not driver seat available, the opposite of gracefully fling myself into that seat, and however I land, my limbs protrude in victorious preparation for wherever we may be going.
So you jump into the passenger seat of the El Camino.
Yes.
Okay. You do all of that. We're now in the attack phase. You successfully jump in the car. Barry sees what you're doing and starts ambling toward the El Camino too, assuming that you have some sort of plan, which might be too presumptuous of him. Excavo, you successfully start the truck and drive it up to where Archibald is.
Excavo! Punch it!
No!
Stop trying to make punch it a thing. Archibald, I'm going to need a strength plus potence plus athletics roll to get those pigs in the bed of the truck.
Oh, man. Dip.
How many is that?
That's nothing.
Not
no
again.
successes. Not a botch, though.
Okay.
Dang.
You
Could I come out to help him?
You slam a pig against the side of the truck.
Yeah.
It is now the creature's turn. So the creature reaches down and tries to slap Darby off of him. It needs to get at least 8 successes to overcome Darby's strength, and gets 9.
Oh.
Darby is knocked off of his position up on the creature's hip, but will have a chance in his turn to, as he's falling, grab that foot one last time.
Okay. So do I have to try to save myself?
Oh,
am
yeah.
I falling to my death unless I grab onto the foot?
Definitely not to
down.
your death. I mean, it's just bashing damage if you fall. And that is, let me double check just to be sure. I believe catching something as you're falling.
I have already burned for celerity.
Dexterity plus athletics plus 1 to grab onto it. And because it's slippery and you're falling, difficulty is going to be increased by 1. So dexterity plus athletics plus 1, difficulty 7.
Okay. 1 success.
As you're falling, you just barely hang on to it, the foot now, and you still have, because you burned for celerity, 1 more attack after the Splinter Servant goes. Augustyn, give me another 6 dice, difficulty 9, to see if this thing can pierce the creature's heart.
All right. Boop. 1 success.
1's all you need. Now, kindly give me a roll of 5d10 to determine how much damage it does.
3 damage, it looks like.
3 damage, it looks like. You see, Darby sees the Splinter Servant stabbing away, and with each of these strikes, you see it twist a little bit, like it's... You want it to go straight in, and this seems to be kind of glancing off of it, just barely. And this is the end of the round, so once again, I'm going to need a hanging... Oh, no, Darby gets a second attack.
So given that I'm flailing down at the leg again, I want to try to make a called shot. Can I change my intention now that the situation has changed, or do I have to do what I declared at the beginning?
What is it that you now want to do instead?
I want to throw my chakram at the necklace, called shot, see if I can slice it off with the chakram.
I am going to allow that. I'm going to say this is about the same size as if you were aiming at like a hand or a head. So that's going to increase the difficulty by 2 to 8. So you're going to be rolling dexterity +1 plus athletics for this. Dexterity plus athletics +1, difficulty 8 to get the chain that the amulet is hanging on by.
3 successes.
I'm going to say, since you do in fact hit that chain, you would need to do at least 1 damage to break the chain. So that's going to be strength plus potence +3 to determine damage.
Okay, lots of damage.
Lots of damage. So as this creature flings you off of it, smacks you off of its hip, as you're falling, you grab its leg with your one free hand and get another like good grip in the crook of your elbow with it, and still holding onto the chakram, you throw it up at this weird thing that the creature's wearing around its neck. The chakram bounces off of the creature, severing the chain and the amulet, which now begins to fall. And this is the end of the round, so we're going to need another hanging on roll from Darby and the Splinter Servant. And that is for Darby, strength plus potence plus brawl. Already have it.
The Splinter Servant is definitely still attached.
Yes, I think that is correct. So is Darby.
Neither are removed. Yet another round, but this is coming to a close pretty soon, I think. Splinter Servant's still doing its thing. Darby, what are you attempting to do? You are now holding on with one hand, and you don't have a weapon in the other.
I'm burning for celerity again. I would like, if I can react fast enough, I would like to try to catch the amulet as it's plummeting.
Okay, that could be your first action.
If that seems possible. And then with the rest of my action, I think I would like to draw my combat shotgun.
Okay.
So 1 action to draw my weapon, 1 action to try to catch the thing. Because I'm unarmed, so I have to spend an action to get rearmed.
Okay. The creature reaches down and forcefully plunges its clawed hands into the flesh of its own legs. It seems to be doing something weird where it looks like it's causing itself damage, like to its own legs.
Okay.
Archibald, I assume you're going to be trying to throw some pigs into that truck again?
Well, yeah, sure, I guess.
Okay.
And I don't know.
Excavo, I could just say Excavo and Archibald eventually successfully get these pigs into the truck.
Yeah, I would have come out to help him after feeling a large animal slam against the side of the truck.
Yeah, we'll say you guys eventually get the pigs
that
in.
Would have been.
And you start driving the truck out of this area. Barry is ambling up to the El Camino. He's going to join Augustyn. And Augustyn, are you just waiting in the El Camino?
With my back up in my good club, I vigorously provide it scruff while everything is happening animously around me.
You're being a good bear mama. So you do that. Barry runs up and joins you. Excavo and Archibald get pigs in a truck. And the creature is up next and does this very curious thing. The creature reaches down and forcefully plunges both of its hands, claws first, into the flesh of its own legs, like kind of into its groin area. Not into its genitals, like into the groin muscles, like the inner thighs. Mm-hmm. With, just to clarify, with a roar, as it's still flying away, it grips the top of its femurs and pops them audibly out of socket, tearing the skin and ripping the muscle apart. Darby sees all of this, and it's quite disturbing. Mm-hmm. Squeezing the tissue that is still connecting its legs to its body, the limbs suddenly detach, sending Darby falling along with the amulet, apparently at tremendous physical cost to this creature. Darby, to grab the amulet as it is falling, I think that would be a dexterity plus athletics plus 1 roll.
Okay. 4 successes.
4 successes. As both you and it are falling through the air, you snatch this amulet. You are now in possession of it. The Splinter Servant, which is still attached, Augustyn, please roll 6 dice for me. Difficulty 9 once again. The 1 cancels out the 9. That ends up being no successes, unfortunately. Darby, as you are falling, I assume you pull your shotgun out and you ready it?
I mean, that doesn't seem like it's going to be really effective now that I'm plummeting to the ground. I mean, how he's like higher in the air than he was before.
You can, yes, that is true. It is going up this whole time, steadily higher. You would be able to get off a shot as you are falling, though.
Well, that's what I want to do then, I guess.
If we're going by video game physics, though, would that not accelerate his fall to the ground? Like, propel him downward?
I mean, that works in real physics, too, but yes.
Not enough to
propel
matter.
Me slightly toward the ground.
I mean, fair. To reach terminal velocity, you have to plummet about 450 meters, 1,500 feet.
Oh, wow.
Or you actually, have to in this system, fall for about 10 seconds.
This system addresses terminal velocity. And if you are 100 feet off the ground, that is effectively terminal velocity when it comes to how much damage you get when you land. In the damage from falling calculation, it maxes out at 100 feet, which is far. It's not anywhere near terminal velocity, but anyway. Fun fact:
most humans would not survive from that height as it is.
Augustyn,
we're squishy and have lots of vulnerabilities.
Please roll 6 dice to see if that Splinter Servant hangs on.
Looks like 1 success.
It hangs on. New round. Augustyn remains in the El Camino. He is joined by Barry. Excavo and Archibald pull up alongside the El Camino, or past it. We'll resolve that later. The creature continues flying further out, and Darby, what is your intention? This is kind of, you're the only active player in this combat at this point, so this could be your initiative and attack phase at the same time.
I'm just trying to shoot him, trying to do as much damage before he gets out of range.
Okay.
Any way I can to continue to hurt him, if I can.
We're looking for a dexterity plus firearms plus 1 roll to see if you can hit it.
Dexterity plus firearms. 2 successes.
Your damage pool is going to be 9 for this. Please roll 9 dice.
2 successes.
All right. As you fire off this shotgun into the night, it illuminates the area in front of you. It lights up, just for a split second, it lights up the trees, it lights up the canopy, and it lights up the rapidly disappearing creature And in that moment, you see little tiny holes appear in the wing of the creature. It appears that you successfully shot it in the wing, and its flight pattern becomes a little erratic at that point.
Okay.
Did you wish to burn for celerity in this round?
Yep.
Okay.
Indefinitely.
Augustyn, please give me a roll for your Splinter Servant. One more time. Six dice, please.
Big money, 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 big money.
He didn't get it.
Son of a bitch.
Actually, a botch.
Yeah, that's a botch.
Okay, and very last turn. Darby, give me one more, I assume, shotgun blast?
Yep.
Because it is a semi-automatic shotgun, you can take up to 3 shots with it per round. If it were a normal shotgun, that would only be 1.
Well, that's 3 successes for me to hit.
3 successes. So please roll 10 dice to determine your damage.
I want to kill this motherfucking thing so bad. 4.
Once again, as you fire your shotgun, it briefly illuminates the forest, and you once again see it reacting a little bit to the hit. Not startled by the noise, but you see as it's rapidly getting further away from you and picking up speed, it appears to have actually hit it. And because it's going away from you and you're hitting it at its back, and most of its back is wings from your perspective, it appears that you hit it in the wings once again. So Darby falls from a height of 55 feet. So that'll be 5 dice of bashing damage, which I will roll real quick for us.
2 successes.
And it looks like 2 successes. You can also soak that.
Yeah, I soaked it.
Pretty easily.
2 successes.
So you fall.
Yeah.
You bounce. Okay, you fall to the ground. Hat still on, of course. Amulet in your hand. Shotgun in your other hand. You hear the creature's legs fall with heavy thuds not far from you. You hear, after a moment, the sound of a small metallic object, a small, sharp, circular metallic object fall somewhere in your vicinity in the forest. And you see the monster with the Splinter Servant still attached to it fly off into the night, and you can no longer see it. What happens between it and the Splinter Servant is now, because there aren't any PCs around to see it, unknown to you, but I will resolve that with additional rolls. Darby, now, do you rejoin the rest of the PCs?
I locate my chakram first, but yes, as soon as I find it, I go join everybody else, tell them what happened.
Okay, it takes a little while. You use your cell phone's flashlight to kind of look around in the forest. The others maybe get a little worried about you, but you eventually find it and you rejoin everyone else. Everyone picks up their dropped weapons and reconvenes at the car. All right, let's end our session there. It's quite a battle. Let's see what happens in the next session. And scene.
XP.
3 points for everybody. Augustyn,
I get my sleep.
you have 13 points.
I am back at a point where I am able to save those for, hopefully, if my relationship with the Chantry waifu, if that gets back on the up and up, I can use that to learn other stuff. So I'm going to hold.
Okay. And Darby, you have 6 points.
I think I'm holding as well, trying to get up to 12.
And Excavo, you have 7.
We may have lost Excavo.
Or she's just holding very, very still.
Amazingly still.
Okay, well, she'll have an opportunity to spend those points between now and the next session if she wants to. All right, that does it for session 19.
All right.
GG.
GG. Right. As always, thank you for putting in all the prep and effort and making this cool world available to us.
No doubt. See you guys next time.
All right, until next time.
2 weeks. Love you guys.
Have a good one.